On the FPS review test bench today, I have the new ASUS TUF Gaming GeForce RTX 4080 Super graphics card. This is a 16 gigabyte GDDR6 graphics card sporting the GeForce RTX 4080 Super GPU, and this is the TUF Gaming model from ASUS. Now this is the non-OC version, or the regular TUF Gaming. There is an OC edition with a factory overclock on ASUS's website. This, however, is the non-OC model. It is clocked at the standard 2550 megahertz of the NVIDIA reference clock speed. However, because of the improved cooling and power delivery, it actually boosts well above that in gaming. Our full review shows that frequency as well as full overclocking performance and all of the specifications and high quality pictures on our website. Make sure to check our full written review for that information. Today, I am going to take a quick look at this video card. We're going to look at it, and then I'm going to go over all of the graphs for you and show you some of the performance numbers that we got with this video card. MSRP on ASUS's website, $999. That is the price, and that is the same MSRP as a reference NVIDIA GeForce RTX 4080 Super. The 4080 Super, of course, the refresh that came out early this year, 2024, that boosts the CUDA cores just a little bit on the 4080 there. But this is based on that new refresh, and again, it's the non-OC edition. However, it has plenty of overclocking capacity and potential, and we show that in the review, and we'll have all those results on the website. Make sure to check it out. But let's take a quick look at the video card and see what this thing is all about. Starting with the ASUS TUF Gaming GeForce RTX 4080 Super graphics card, I actually want to take a look at the box first. Here's the front of the box. Everything is listed very well. 16 gigabytes of memory, GPU Tweak III, Aura Sync from ASUS on it. The actual model name is the TUF RTX 4080S-16G-Gaming. And keep in mind that this is the non-OC edition, but ASUS does have an OC edition on their website with a factory overclock. This one is clocked at the NVIDIA reference clocks for a 4080 Super. Now on the back side here, we can see that ASUS gives a very good detail about the features of the video card. You'll find a lot of that information right on the back before you buy the video card, which is great, so you know what you're getting. Here is the box itself out of the main frame, and one of the interesting features of this box, yes, the box has an interesting feature, it's got rounded or cut off edges, which is, I think, a unique design. And so that the way ASUS has this, is that the box itself has cut out edges so that this box comes through as its edges. It's just a unique little feature. But the other component of this box, which is actually very amazing to me, is, as the name says, TUF Gaming, the box itself is extremely tough. This is one of the most sturdy boxes I've come across, actually, for a video card. This is a thick, heavy box that I cannot just get the feel of it through to you over a video, but this box is sturdy and thick. This is not thin. This is actually, the box is actually this thick. So that's really neat. Inside the box, you do get the 3-pin adapter to the 16 pin, so 3 8-pins to 16 pin. It uses one 16 pin if you just have that. Of course, you've got that. You've got some ties here, some zip Velcro ties. You also have a GPU stand, so it does come with a GPU holder so that the video card will not sag. And there's other little nifty things as well, some cards and so forth. All the box contents are listed on their website. But I just wanted to show the box because, yeah, that's actually an interesting feature of the video card. It keeps it extremely safe during shipping, so that's very important. you would want a video card with the name TUF on it to also have TUF boxing, and it does. And here is the ASUS TUF Gaming GeForce RTX 4080 Super. As I mentioned, the OC edition does exist. However, it looks exactly the same as this version as well. It just simply has a factory overclock, but this boosts very high in our testing, and you'll see that in the benchmarks. Compared to a Founders Edition, it actually runs faster. It boosts higher in our testing. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's look at this. So this is a 3-fan, axial fan, very large fans. These are, they take up the entire size of the shroud, which is a very large shroud in of itself. The heat sinks on this video card are also large. They are enlarged. Very, very thick, very large heat sinks. 16-pin connector on there. This right here and this right here light up. This is ARGB, Aura Sync from ASUS, controllable in software. We do also have a dual BIOS switch. This does have a performance and a quiet mode. So with the switch to the left, it's on performance mode, which is the default. And then there's a quiet mode, and that is just simply different fan profiles. However, I noticed no extreme fan loudness during testing. Even when overclocked, I left the fans on automatic, and it worked just fine. Very quiet, even in performance mode, so you really won't have to change that. Also, you can change there is a silent mode in ASUS GPU Tweak III that you can also enable, so you don't necessarily have to use a BIOS switch here. You can do it in software as well, and that's available. You can also see here that it's got a huge air pass through here. The PCB itself is very small from here to here. It's only this big, and so the rest of this card is all heatsink. Huge heatsink. Air passes through this and keeps it cool. This is a solid metal backplate as well, giving rigidity to the video card. And as we look all around, you can see how it's constructed. There's some of the heat pipes on the back, and the I/O ports here. We'll talk about these ports here in just a second because that's important. But this video card is manufactured with ASUS Extreme Manufacturing, which has it's all automated manufacturing for quality, high quality components, high quality PCB, all automated. It also has ASUS's military grade hardware and components on the PCB. So it's very high quality components. It's got that TUF build so that it literally is a TUF video card. And this is actually one of the important features I wanted to talk about here, because you don't see this a lot on the video cards, is it has 2 HDMI ports and 3 display port. Now typically you only get 1 HDMI and 3 displays, so this adds an extra HDMI port. So that's right, it has 5 display outputs on it, and that's kind of unique. It just gives you a little bit more flexibility and something that you would expect out of a $1,000 video card, of course. So that's basically how it looks. Now size, I do want to caution you on the size. This is a very large and heavy video card. It measures over 13.5 inches. We have the exact measurements on our website review. Over 3.5 there, or over 13.5 there, 5 inches this way, and then the height of it is, I mean, let's just go ahead and say it's a 4-slot video card, because that's practically what it is. I mean, we're at 3 inches on the height here. It's a 4-slot video card. I think technically it's not, but you might as well just call it a 4-slot video card at this point, especially if you want cooling from underneath. That is bigger than the Founders Edition GeForce RTX 4080 Super. This is a bigger video card in every dimension compared to the Founders Edition 4080 Super. So keep that in mind. It's large. You're going to need the space for it. But if you have the space, it will look good in the system. It has that bit of RGB there. This video card does support ASUS's GPU Tweak III software, and that means in the software you have hardware monitoring, you have an OC button. Yes, there is an OC button that will give this video card an overclock boost with a single button click, and that also boosts the power target slightly. And then you do have a silent mode in GPU Tweak as well, if you just want it to be extremely cool and quiet. The software also allows you to raise the GPU voltage. That's right, you can raise the voltage on this. You can adjust fan speeds and fan curves, and again, monitor all of the hardware statistics while you're gaming. In fact, GPU Tweak III has an on-screen display with this video card, so you can monitor the frequency and the temperatures while you're gaming to see if your overclock is actually doing something good for you. So that's very useful when you are attempting to overclock and you want to find the highest stable overclock. We utilize the software, we utilized the maximum power targets and GPU voltage and managed a very high overclock on this, beating the Founders Edition overclock and boost speed while gaming. So all of that just means it has a lot of potential. So even though it's not the OC edition and does not come with a factory overclock, you can overclock it yourself manually, and it has enthusiast overclocking potential. So I just wanted to mention all that. But now I think it's time to dive into the benchmarks and do a quick pass of the gaming performance that we examined as we tested this video card. In our gaming benchmarks, all of the video cards were tested with the latest drivers. We compared the ASUS TUF Gaming GeForce RTX 4080 Super with an AMD Radeon RX 7900 XTX. We also overclocked the ASUS TUF Gaming GeForce RTX 4080 Super to the maximum stable overclock on GPU and frequency that we could obtain. All of those results and our overclocking attempts are in our written review. Starting with Alan Wake, we are at 4K graphics high quality preset. The ASUS TUF Gaming 55 FPS and playable in this game at 4K without needing upscaling. It is on par with performance of the RX 7900 XTX. Upscaling takes us up to 87 FPS with DLSS. Overclocking boosts us to 57 without DLSS and 90.5 with DLSS. In Alan Wake 2, with high-quality ray tracing preset, we lowered the resolution to 1440p so that the game would be more playable. At this resolution, but with the high-quality ray tracing, which does enable path tracing, the ASUS TUF Gaming RTX 4080 Super is playable at 56 FPS. With DLSS upscaling, that goes up to 86. It is much faster than the Radeon RX 7900 XTX, which does struggle with path tracing. In Assassin's Creed Mirage at 4K, the ASUS TUF Gaming GeForce RTX 4080 Super is playable at over 100 FPS. DLSS upscaling brings that up to 134 FPS, and performance is competitive with the Radeon RX 7900 XTX. In Avatar Frontiers of Pandora at 4K and the highest graphics quality, this game runs at 50 FPS on the ASUS TUF Gaming GeForce RTX 4080 Super, which is a bit slower than you would want for this game at 4K. Therefore, enabling DLSS upscaling brings performance up to 85 FPS and gameplay is smooth. Performance is faster than the Radeon RX 7900 XTX. In Chernobylite Enhanced Edition at 4K, both video cards provide performance above 100 FPS. The ASUS TUF Gaming GeForce RTX 4080 Super is in the lead at 109 FPS, with DLSS boosts all the way to 154. Once again, in Chernobylite at 4K, but with Ultra ray tracing, the ASUS TUF Gaming GeForce RTX 4080 Super is not playable at near 42 FPS. However, DLSS upscaling does make it playable at 70 FPS. Performance is much faster than the Radeon RX 7900 XTX. In Cyberpunk at 4K, running Ultra, the ASUS TUF Gaming GeForce RTX 4080 Super is questionably not playable at 54 FPS. We found that by utilizing DLSS upscaling, the game is much smoother and more playable at nearly 70 FPS. The AMD Radeon RX 7900 XTX takes a much larger lead over the RTX 4080 Super in this game. However, turn on ray tracing and that changes. With Ultra Ray Tracing preset, we did decrease resolution to 1440p to get a playable performance. The ASUS TUF Gaming GeForce RTX 4080 Super is playable at 60 FPS. DLSS upscaling brings that above 100 FPS, and that's with the Ultra preset of ray tracing. In Dying Light 2, the ASUS TUF Gaming GeForce RTX 4080 Super is playable at 96 FPS, and DLSS upscaling brings that to 144. Performance is above the AMD Radeon RX 7900 XTX. And in Dying Light 2, with Ray Tracing Ultra, highest quality ray tracing, the ASUS TUF Gaming GeForce RTX 4080 Super is not as playable at near 50 FPS. Therefore, DLSS upscaling is needed to make it smooth and playable at 86 FPS, but performance is well above AMD Radeon RX 7900 XTX with ray tracing enabled. In Horizon Forbidden West at 4K, both video cards do a great job. The ASUS TUF Gaming GeForce RTX 4080 Super is playable at 75 FPS. DLSS upscaling brings that to 102. The AMD Radeon RX 7900 XTX does take a slight lead in performance, but once you enable upscaling, the experience is the same. In Returnal, the AMD Radeon RX 7900 XTX takes a pretty heavy lead. However, the ASUS TUF Gaming GeForce RTX 4080 Super is playable at 87 FPS, and DLSS upscaling brings that to 117 FPS. When we enable ray tracing in the epic quality, that changes. The ASUS TUF Gaming GeForce RTX 4080 Super is playable at 67 FPS, and DLSS upscaling brings that to 99. Performance is well above the AMD Radeon RX 7900 XTX. And in Starfield at 4K, the ASUS TUF Gaming GeForce RTX 4080 Super is on par with performance of the AMD Radeon RX 7900 XTX. However, DLSS upscaling has a performance lead at nearly 90 FPS average at 4K, bringing smooth gameplay with better latency. We have also included some DLSS 3 plus frame generation performance as well to show that. In Alan Wake 2 at 4K, native resolution performance is 55 on the ASUS TUF Gaming GeForce RTX 4080 Super. When you enable DLSS quality mode, performance rises to 87 FPS. With frame generation, the smoothness increases to 112. When we use ray tracing at the high quality preset, which does enable path tracing, and this is at 1440p, native resolution performance is 56. DLSS quality boosts that to 86, and frame generation takes us further to a smoothness of 138. In Cyberpunk 2077 at 4K, native resolution performance is 54 FPS. DLSS quality brings that to 69 FPS, plus frame generation brings us to 91 smoothness. With Ultra preset ray tracing at 1440p, native resolution performance is 61, DLSS quality brings that to 106, and add frame generation and we are at 154 on smoothness. Finally, in Horizon Forbidden West at 4K, native resolution is 75 FPS, DLSS quality is 102.9, and add frame generation and we are at 122 on smoothness. And there we have it. That was the ASUS TUF Gaming GeForce RTX 4080 Super 16GB GDDR6X graphics card from ASUS. This is the non-OC version. There is an OC edition. This one has an MSRP of $999 on ASUS's website. And as you saw in the benchmarks, this does allow a playable 4K experience. There are some games that run a little more heavy, and you will want to enable DLSS for the smoothest and best gameplay, even at 4K in some very demanding games. As for ray tracing, you'll find that generally playable. You will want to enable DLSS upscaling at 4K. However, if you drop down to 1440p, or if you are a 1440p gamer, this absolutely dominates the 1440p gameplay experience, even with ray tracing, and you might not need upscaling either. However, it is there if you need it. And you do have the DLSS 3 frame generation as well. And don't forget, DLSS 3.5 Ray Reconstruction in supported games is also there with this. Our overclocking attempts with this video card were extremely positive. This has an out-of-box GPU boost of 2550 MHz, which is the reference clock speed for an RTX 4080 Super. However, due to NVIDIA GPU boost, the power headroom and thermals on this video card, it actually boosted up to 2745 MHz in our testing, which does run a little bit faster than a Founders Edition out of the box. And that clock speed was also smooth and consistent throughout long periods of gaming. In addition, when we overclocked the video card, we managed to push it all the way up to a manual overclock of 2970 MHz on this, and that is with a voltage increase in ASUS GPU Tweak III. Therefore, this has enthusiast overclocking potential, and just because it is not the OC edition doesn't mean it's limited in any way. But that's going to wrap it up for this video. I hope you all enjoyed this information on this video card, the benchmarks. Check out our full written review on our website, www.thefpsreview.com. I'll have a link to the review in the description as well. As always, everyone, hope you have a blessed day. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned for the next one.